This video has been made in collaboration with Lightstream's Creator Academy. Check out the link in the description to find more classes. There's a topic that isn't talked about all that often when it comes to the world of content creation, and that is simply losing your passion for it. It's easy to think you'll always love making content because you love gaming or art or music, whatever brought you into this creator space to begin with. But losing your love for it, it's way, way easier than you may think. I didn't realize it happened to me till it was way too late, and I ended up out of the creator space for a couple of years. So, somebody who lost it but thankfully found it again, I have some tips to help make sure it doesn't happen to you. Before I start diving into what I've learned over the years, you should know a little bit more about me. My name is Mike, but I go by Di3seL in the creator space, and I started my journey all the way back in 2006. It is possible that somebody watching this video wasn't even born yet, which is one, absurd to think about, and two, it makes me feel insanely old. I've been streaming full time since 2014 and a founding member of Optic Gaming. I also created this OG logo that some of you may be familiar with. For any fellow olds out there that may remember Machinima, I was a co-host there and a content manager for Machinima Sports. Now, enough about me. Let's get back on track. My time in the creator space has been an emotional roller coaster. I loved, hated, lost, and then found my joy for it again. And I really think that happened for two reasons. One, I didn't practice or look for any tools to ensure I didn't lose my love for gaming. Tools like what Lightstream is doing with this series did not exist back then. And the other reason, I honestly thought my love for gaming was untouchable. The idea that one day I would wake up and then just not want to play games or stream was so far out there that it wasn't on my radar. I thought nothing could sway me. And you may be thinking the same thing listening to this video. And hey, you might be right. There are way, way more tools available today, and you might be way better equipped than I was at the time. But the off chance that you're not, no harm in hearing me out. One of the best things I learned was don't get lost in the numbers. Now, it might sound crazy because this space is powered by numbers and algorithms, but it doesn't need to be when you're making the content. It's so easy to look over and see the viewer count and get discouraged by a number that isn't what you were expecting. And that hits hard. You're certainly not the only one with those feelings. So the best thing I learned, hide it. And that might sound absolutely ridiculous, but trust me, it helps. I would often find myself really only chatting or getting excited when the viewer count started to rise. But there were people that were sitting in the chat and maybe stopping by, and the experience they got was a bore because I was waiting for a number to say, all right, it's go time. That waiting kept me from truly enjoying the game I was playing, and it also stopped me from entertaining those who were already there. My overall mood suffered as well, and it was such a slow decline, I didn't even notice that my passion was dwindling until I looked up and it was so far away. You can reflect on the viewer count after the stream. Doing it during runs the risk of that little voice in your head saying, am I doing something wrong? Did I say something? And that voice will only start to build and knock you off what was potentially an awesome stream. Your energy, enthusiasm, your joy will all be protected with the simplest of things. Hide the viewer count. Now, after your stream, when you review your numbers, you'll see some things that did or did not do well with your audience. Your favorite game or genre might not be what everybody else wants to watch you play, and that's okay. You still need to make time for it because that's what you love. And that's a big thing that can very easily get pushed to the side. You and what you want to do. It's easy to chase the numbers of a new game or bounce around a trend and easily get lost in the sauce. But you can't just push whatever got you into the space for that chase or you'll end up burning out like I did. I love sports games and Gears of War. Two of maybe the worst directories to stream back in the day, unless you were one of the top creators. I didn't set any time aside to do what I wanted to do. And I was simply following those trends. And if I didn't see the numbers increase, I didn't do it. By scheduling a part of the week, even if it was just for an hour, for the game I wanted to play, regardless of how well it did numbers-wise, I found it not only recharged me, but my community started to come around to the idea of games that maybe they weren't that into. Another thing I started to do was game offline. I found that it not only refueled my love for gaming, but it also made me excited for my next stream as well. Having moments that were just for me felt so rewarding because most of what we do is immediately shared with very little for us. Having those moments reminded me of times before I entered the gaming space, and now I look forward to them almost as much as having a couple moment during a stream. Now, gaming offline does not mean you need to be taking multiple days off. You could turn it into a perk with your community or play with them without the pressure being on or numbers. I try to play a game once a week offline. Sometimes it's only for an hour, or other days get completely melted away because I get lost in the sauce. Now, it's done wonders for me, and I truly, truly recommend taking a little bit of time for yourself to play the games you love. Something else I've enjoyed is trying games that are outside of what I would normally play. I'm admittedly awful at fighting in Souls-like games, and I don't think that will ever change, but now I find it a fun challenge. Where in the past, I would really only try to stay in my comfort zone, not try anything new because I didn't want to look bad. We often only want to show the world the perfect us, and there's a ton of fun to be had in imperfection. Sure, super uncomfortable, I'm with you, but that feeling is a fun challenge to try to overcome, I think. I often title my streams, when I'm trying something new and maybe I'm not going to be good at it. Road to decent. That sets the bar super low, and the viewers find my failing hilarious, which takes the edge off that uncomfortable feeling. Remember that content creation is meant to be enjoyable, so don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect. Now, this is the most important, but at the same time, hardest things to do. Take breaks. It's okay to take breaks. You absolutely need to take breaks from content creation if you're feeling burned out or overwhelmed. Grind culture was prevalent and to an extent really is still today. The side effects were never really talked about because we didn't know they existed back then. I wasn't worried about burnout or mental fatigue because in my mind, I was living the dream. I was playing video games. The toll it will take on your physical condition and your mental, no matter how prepared you think you are, it's coming if you don't take time to prevent it. You need the occasional break. Taking scheduled time off will help prevent burnout and the other negative effects that I promise you will show their head if you do not take care of yourself. The scheduled time part of this is very, very important and super easy to overlook. I would often think because errands ran long or some other thing that kept me streaming that day, that equals a day off. And that is absolutely not the case. I still, to this day, knowing everything I know and everything I've been talking to you about, will sometimes see time dwindling down in the day and stress out, how do I fit a stream? And that does not equal a relaxing day off. With that thought process, gaming and streaming became a stressor, something that I was trying to fit into my day instead of the escape that it had always been. Before I knew it, that escape was completely gone, which then played a huge role in eventually me falling out of love with all of it. I hope if you take any advice away from this video, that taking care of you is at the top of that list. So from a guy who had it, lost it, and found it again, I hope that these tips make it a bit easier for you to protect your joy for content creation.